Brought to you by Penguin.
Older, but better, but older, by Caroline de Maigret and Sophie Mas. Read for you by Carrington Macduffie. Age is something that doesn't matter, unless you are a cheese. Louise Buñuel. You know things aren't what they used to be. When you wake up feeling great, and everyone tells you how tired you look. When you go to see the dermatologist to check a mole, and he asks where you want the Botox. When a 30-year-old guy arrives at a party and doesn't even glance at you. When you can guess from his personality what kind of a lover he is. When the president of France is younger than you. When you have more hangovers than actual parties. When, in all honesty, you'd rather have sex in bed than in the shower. When you go to the gym to do cardio and no longer just to work on your abs. When you find yourself putting on makeup every day. When you think you look good in a photo of yourself at 20 that until now you'd always thought was terrible. When you no longer know who all the hip actors or singers are. When someone says you have a sexy gaze, but you're actually just squinting because you don't want to get your glasses out. When you tell someone you've known them since they were in diapers. When you share an anecdote from 10 years ago and realize it's actually been 20. When you'd rather go to bed early to make the most of the next day. When you start finding biographies fascinating. When you're just excited to go home. When your colleague was born the same year you graduated. When people no longer ask if you plan on having another baby. When a young woman says she hopes to look like you someday. When you go to the OBGYN for mammograms rather than birth control. When you feel an ache somewhere and fear it might be the beginning of the end. When one of your eyes is smaller than the other. When selecting your year of birth on a website means scrolling down forever. When the Face ID on your cell phone doesn't recognize you in the morning. When you're told that you're damn hot for your age. When you smile at the naivete of a young woman's remark, whereas before you would have just found her stupid. When you think that's a pillow mark on your cheek, but it's still there a week later. Your first. You used to live for firsts. First kiss, dry lips, and pounding heart. First salary, a sum so tiny it vanished in 3 nights. Your first time clubbing, caked in makeup, trying to fool them at the door, trembling at the thought they'd see right through you. The first dubious fling you brought home to your baffled but sympathetic parents. That disturbing film you saw alone in a dark cinema, and the first time you took the highway by yourself, feverish at the wheel. Your first time filing taxes and feeling serious, a true adult. The first time you got dumped when you didn't see it coming, and then got over it, to your surprise. Or when you lost your virginity, and nothing really changed. First night alone in your first apartment. Moments of joy, sadness, and adrenaline that mark the end or the beginning of new eras. You think back with affection on these moments that made you grow, and though your firsts are rarer now, they still happen. They take on new forms, more complex shapes. When you found your first gray hair some years ago, it strangely didn't affect you much because some of your friends had them at 25. But this first time fills you with stupor and with dread. It hits you instantly when you catch it, making eyes at you. A solitary white hair hiding in your pubes. It's not a mirage, as you first hoped. You double-check, give it a tug. It's definitely there and not going anywhere. It's all you can see, smugly soaking up attention, taunting you.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?